like you really want to? Can you love me like you do your hustle? Can you feed me past the food and grubbing? Can you clean me like it's church on Sunday? In the tubbing, scrub-a-dubbing, clean the fountain, make a wish and throw 100. I might just blow it. Your heat ain't warming, your mountain's warm. Maybe if I pull myself closer to my mouth. Oh, that was
ginger cider.
You psycho.
That has no sugar in it. I'm just curious.
I'm gonna hear all your gulps on sound.
Yep.
What you really need to be picking up on is what I say under my breath.
I'm having no problem repeating that. Or just say it like, what did you say?
I won't say it again.
Oh, jeez. Well, I think that like when we say we already know what is being said. We're just looking for reiteration. Because you don't ever say during something freaky. You just sort of make... You be saying during sex?
No, love you, because I really can't hear. I'll be like...
that's so awkward.
May you repeat that? I should be like, really like, nah. It'd be back and forth like, what'd you say? And then they say it again. I'm like, nah, what'd you say? I can't hear you. Speak up. And it's like, oh my God, it's not sexy anymore.
Who pussy this is? Huh?
That is uncomfortable.
I didn't hear
you. Just gotta, that's where like you chuckle it out with the moan.
I didn't hear that. Like, for real though. A little moan just saves everything.
Little moan saves lives. Okay, how you all feeling? You ready to get this going? This is probably gonna be in it. What is up, everybody? It is your favorite queer poet from the South and West Side, Iman Loren, coming through with a very special episode of the Real Hoodwives of Chicago. Yes. We have two very beautiful special guests. This is a very special requested episode from what I hear. The amazing Kush Thompson, aka Luscious Loud Pack to me, and the wonderful Neat, also known as Dime Piece to me. How are you all doing?
Peachy. Macking.
You're macking.
Hanging.
What is these words?
Macking, hanging.
I thought you would have gotten that reference.
It sounds familiar.
No. What reference is this?
It sounds like from a hood movie. Am I right?
Yes.
Right?
You're so irritating.
What is it?
It's from The Wood.
Oh.
When they at the end and they at like the school dance.
Yo.
Like macking, hang.
Speaking of The Wood.
She's so professional.
Oh my God. Speaking of The Wood.
What was like, you know that scene when they're about to do it?
Dominique probably don't know.
You've never seen The Wood?
First of all, I've seen The Wood twice, but I still don't know what thing she's talking about, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Don't do me. I may have saw it real late in life, but I did see it.
Okay, there is no correlation then. I mean, I guess it's just...
Just describe it. I feel like everybody got that scene.
I know what you're talking about.
They were like, they were like first time losing their virginity and this, that, and the third, but...
Is it supposed to look like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to know. Like, I didn't want to talk about that scene specifically, but that was a scene that my mom used to make me like close my eyes during.
Why?
You said why? So your mom never made you close your eyes during those scenes?
I do not recall.
I definitely had to close my eyes for that scene.
Did you do the peek through?
I feel like I may have just saw it on my own at another point in time. Like, okay.
Like when you were home alone? Did you all have HBO at night when you were
I did not have cable.
That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said before, I do remember for Titanic, like when she would get naked, I would have to go on vacation. So I would just take whatever toys I was playing with and go to the other room on vacation and then come back.
The fact that Titanic is like... that movie that got you hot when you were younger, that's crazy.
I didn't say it got me hot. I was like, ooh, titties. Vacation.
Mood. That is a mood. Okay, ladies, so I just want to get into this going. So, we have Kush Thompson here with us. And we just do a little pre-gaming. This is a segment called What's Your Thot Juice?
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's going to be a segment, but okay. I was going to figure... Hey, shout out to House, the executive producer here at Jungle Productions. Thank you so much for the space and time, my love. But anyway, back to what's your thought juice? Dun, dun. What is your thought juice, Miss Kush Thompson?
Well, you know, it depends on the day. Today it is Capriccio.
Oh my god.
This shit's disgusting to me.
It's not nasty. It's just strange.
It's like cough
tasting.
syrup.
It's like cough syrup.
Yeah, I taste. I was like, oh,
It
this is
is.
familiar and not in a good way.
It's
I was
definitely
like,
cough
I don't
syrup.
get the hype. Like, at least margaritas taste good. Like,
This-
they taste good.
This don't taste like limerita.
No, I told you it tastes like cough syrup. I was like, okay.
I heard the
One of
trick
the
is like
reasons.
you're supposed to put ice in it. You're supposed to drink it cold so it separates it.
Done that.
That might work. That might work.
If I bought you some chilled thought juice, why is this your thought juice?
This is my thought juice because it is what makes me text my man, have that dick ready. Is that not what thought juice is
Well,
supposed
that
to
is
be?
a quote. A great quote.
I think everybody's
Have it
reasoning.
unwrapped and ready to go.
Whoa! Wow! Wow! We are just diving in. Speaking of,
What is this rapper that's being removed? Do tell.
Oh.
or just does it not come with a rapper?
Meaning, y'all know what I mean.
No, I don't.
It's dumb if you have to clarify. Just take it out of your pants. Unwrap, unzip.
Okay.
Okay. Does it come with a rapper?
That's what I'm wondering.
No, what?
Okay.
In a monogamous
We are not here to judge,
relationship,
sister.
What guy look like?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I can't relate personally. I keep
I
gift wrapped in
shouldn't
the
relate, but I do. I really shouldn't. Okay.
I keep gift wrap in the cabinet above my sink.
Gift wrap.
Gift. That's
It's
great.
a surprise.
They come in like all cute colors and shapes and well, I don't know about shapes.
I remember when I was in high school and I had to go to Planned Parenthood to like buy condoms. I don't know why. I no,
Wait, you had to buy condoms at
No,
Planned
okay, but they
Parenthood?
have ones you can buy, and they were polka dot. They're designed by Lady Gaga, and I was like, maybe this responsibility thing is like fun.
Did you buy the polka dot condom?
Yes, the fuck I did.
Were they Magnum?
They were just Lady Gaga polka dot condoms. I was like, bitch, she's got polka dots.
Did
Yes.
you use the polka dot condom?
Definitely. No, not the actual condom, but the wrapper. It was like white.
You're petty.
No.
I mean, that would have been fun. Like,
was
it's like you're playing Twister with your tongue. Like,
No, G.
all the, if the
can't.
condom was polka dotted, it would be like you were playing Twister.
It's
Like,
really not like that.
it definitely
I
can
was
be.
imagining just a polka dot dick.
Right molar on the
Hopefully
dot
it
over
would even
here.
be translucent, so there's just dots on your dick.
You were into the idea. I was just excited about the wrapper. I was like, oh, this is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, great marketing.
Isn't that great?
You were like, I want
Is it?
clear condom printed.
I have a
please.
real question though. Like, are condoms nude colored, or
I think they're
are they like Band-Aids? where
They're clear.
They're-
Clear?
not all of them. Some of them are. I mean, like they come in colors and flavors.
But like
and,
regular
clear-
condoms, they're like
the
clear and like
clear ones.
dusty.
like they're
Like whatever that powder
They're
is.
like a taupe.
I feel like they're clear, and then it's the powder that gives them the like
The powder.
color.
The powder.
There's not like that little like coating.
the latex.
It
or the
feels
lubricant-
powdery. I
lubricant?
don't know. Whatever it
It
is.
feels powdery.
Like on your
It
fingers.
does feel powdery.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh! Like before or after.
Before,
It
hopefully.
feels like those rubber gloves.
Yeah, and they have that little
Yeah.
coating. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's just like how latex feels, or
Latex.
maybe it's a coating on it. I don't know. But I feel like condoms are clear.
Oh.
But maybe they're not.
They are-
Because
they
if you
are-
like blow them up, or like, you know, when people. I don't know. I've never blown a condom up, but my health teacher did like stick her fist in it, and it did have like
This is so
a little
great.
shade.
Oh my! A little.
But I don't think it's like a skin tone shade. Like it's really just like gray.
Have you ever used a lambskin condom?
I've never
I
even
mean,
seen
I
one.
have not, but I've been with someone who used it.
What does that
Wait,
mean?
what does
that mean?
I mean, obviously, you know, it's not obvious. Kush Thompson, am a cis het woman. So I've never worn a condom.
Oh, so one has been used on you.
yes.
One has been used on
Okay.
me.
Okay. Did you like it?
I couldn't feel the difference, honestly. Condoms are condoms. He said it felt weird. And he
Wait,
didn't like
what?
it.
Aren't you a vegetarian?
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, is that or is it not against the rules as a vegetarian?
I did
That
not
was
ask
beautiful.
him to use lambskin.
But you have to.
It was
You
just
could have
presented to
said
me.
that poor little lamb got skinned.
Whenever
and I
someone
object.
is
She
applying
had
a
a
condom, do they
little
say, I got these condoms, or do they just put them on?
I don't know. I had sex with a lambskin condom before, unbeknownst. And then I was getting dropped off at home the next morning. He was like, "So, what did you think about that condom last night?"
Who says that?
Right? I'm like, what? These spirits, Wendy, what is happening? He was like, "No," because I told him, I was like, it felt really good. Like, it felt like a rigid condom.
Got it.
And he was like, "Oh, it was lambskin." I was like, "Oh."
What does it look like?
I have no
Like
idea
a
what it was
condom.
dark.
It looks like a
I
regular
guess it was more taupey.
I don't
Oh, so it's like okay.
It's
So I always imagine it as like a leg warmer. Like I thought it was like
What?
Like the inside of an UGG boot. I guess I heard lambskin and I thought wool. That's what it was.
That's really not.
I thought
the
they were
same.
wool condoms.
Oh my
not the
God,
same.
this is crazy.
Oh, so this is like a regular. Is it
Anyways.
stretchy?
Yeah, it's just like a regular
They're all
condom.
stretchy.
I really thought it was just like a little wrap they put around it.
Like a what's it called?
like literally like a mitten, like
What's it called? A Sherpa? A
Picnic.
like the Sherpa. Like lining. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really
don't
just.
understand.
I thought somebody sewed it up and they put it on. I don't know what I was thinking.
You ever seen Booty Call?
Of course, you ain't seen no
Leave.
booty
Look, I need you to back up off her.
Please, I'm sorry we did not make it through your VHS
Okay.
collection yet.
That's
We
because
still waiting to watch Waiting to Exhale, okay? Get it together.
Oh, man.
I feel so ashamed for watching.
Wait, did we see that one? Is that the one with
That's
Angela
the one,
Bassett?
yeah.
We just watched Soul Food. Okay.
You haven't seen Soul Food yet?
I have not.
No.
Okay.
My childhood.
I want to get. Yeah, I want to get to you,
Missed a lot.
Miss
Okay.
Dime Piece. I want to get to you. So, what is your thought juice?
So, I'm currently not drinking my thot juice. I'm drinking this artisanal ginger. It's called Ginger Ninja. It's a ginger hard cider made with ginger root. No
That was
sugar
a hard
added.
cider.
Hard cider. Okay. But I think my thot juice is definitely whiskey sours. And it was the first drink I ever had. And I'll never forget, I was at this show and my friend bought me a drink. And she was like, oh, like, what do you want to drink? And I didn't know. I had never ordered a drink. And I was like, whatever you get. And she brought me back the thing. I was like, oh, what'd you end up getting? And she was like, a whiskey sour. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. I just act like I knew what it was. I had no idea what it was. And that just when like when I started going to bars and they'd be like, oh, what do you want to order? And I never knew. Like I didn't know what drinks existed. So I just be like, whiskey sour, please. And to this day I don't know like if that's like a stupid drink or not, but I love them so much.
So, does that drink get you in your most thottiest form?
I think so.
Really?
Just because it's familiar. Like I think for me, like thot juice is not even necessarily the thing that makes you like thotty per se, but like most comfortable. And because it's familiar and it's like something I've been drinking for so long, it makes me super comfortable. Like, okay, I'm here, I know what I'm doing, and everything's like good.
Yeah, I think that's cool that you have a signature drink. I was just talking to someone, and they was like, no matter like where they go, they always get a Jack and Coke because they always know how it tastes. Because one day they were like, they were DJing, and they had seen this girl at this bar, and she was just like letting people buy her drinks, and then so like when the party had closed out, she was like just end up drugged and slumped over, and so he was like, he can just always tell like what is in that drink or what is wrong about that drink. So. That's very interesting that you said that. You're so...
That's not really what it is.
I mean, I'm like the type of... I'm a mixer. Like, I know I'm not supposed to be.
Oh yeah, I just learned about responsible drinking. I
that really
literally
makes a
learned like
difference.
2 months ago. No one ever told me, like, here's how you drink. I'd be like, dark, like, wine, give me more.
Yes.
All of it.
Wine and beer is an amazing combination.
Oh, I can't do beer.
Beer is
You're drinking a form of beer. A hard
I
cider.
guess,
I
but
mean-
barely like fruit. Like I can do like fruit-based ciders, but beer, I've yet to come across one I like.
Does Lime-A-Rita count?
Yeah, if I'm reading counts, I be drinking beer.
I know all about the
Definitely.
beers.
So Lime-A-Rita.
I know about lime beers, pomegranate beers, mango beers,
Watermelon
strawberry beers.
Pineapple beer.
And during Christmas, I know about cranberry beers.
Oh my. Oh my gosh.
No, I was thinking about that. Who was I talking to? I was talking to Clay the other day, and I was telling him about how we used to drink rum chata.
Oh yes.
We were
Oh,
basically just coming
yes.
into our alcohol drinking.
Rum chata is smacking though.
It's nice, but it barely counts as alcohol.
It's not like we
Look.
were drinking it like it was alcohol.
It's fermented
I didn't realize that you were supposed to add like another.
Did
like,
not know.
Like some fireballs and that shit.
I just found that out.
Create a fat
In
ass
this
bowl of
moment.
eggnog
In this
and
moment.
shit. Like
Wow, geez.
Didn't know that.
From
I-
like rum chata to Moscato.
Moscato still gets me on my shit though. Moscato still
I
gets me
get
on my
delicious.
shit.
Moscato for sangria. Like it's like
Fruit.
advanced.
This
You're like,
damn
I
Capriccio.
have some red wine now with some fruit.
So how do you maintain that Capriccio? I just want to fucking know
do you
because
mean?
I bought a bottle of Capriccio to my house. I was like, this bitch ass shit. This shit ain't gonna do nothing. I'm a Hennessy gal, and so I was just like, all right. And I was on my bed throwing up.
Oh no!
Yes,
What are you
like
doing?
oh my gosh, because I didn't realize that it hit me until that fast. Like, yeah, a lot of things happen off that Capriccio.
I really don't know about that. Dude.
I
You gotta take
not
that up with someone else. I don't normally throw up off of alcohol. There was one Halloween where I took like innumerable shots of Captain Morgan.
Oh, you're a risk taker.
I've come so far.
You're a risk taker.
Now that I think about it, actually, so Captain Morgan was the first thing I drunk.
Really?
Not the first thing I ordered. I hope I never go to a bar and order Captain Morgan. I hope I never get to that point in my life.
That's
But it was the
dark
first
ages.
thing I drunk. And so that also was like, oh, when I bought liquor, I would just buy Captain Morgan. Because again, it was familiar. I was drinking Captain Morgan until like last year. I was at my graduation drinking Captain Morgan. And like I had a handle of it and I had a bunch left. And I was like, oh, like, does anyone want this Captain Morgan? Like, I'm going to have to throw it away. I can't take it home with me. Everyone's like, no. Why would I want Captain Morgan? I didn't know it had such a
Why would
bad
I
rep.
want Captain
I
Morgan?
didn't know. What's wrong with Captain Morgan?
I think Captain Morgan is just, I don't know, like, I think it's just given like an old person connotation.
Got it.
Not even.
Or dark ages connotation. I don't know. For me personally.
I feel like maybe it's just bad liquor. Like
Possibly.
of all
Possibly.
the
I don't know.
rum you could drink.
I mean, to this day, like, I still don't know how to buy liquor that doesn't sound like candy.
Like Hypnotic.
Like,
and Alizé.
I remember one New Year's Eve, I had my sister's fake. I went to that liquor store by, like, in Hyde Park. What is it called?
Kimbark liquors.
Or
It wasn't
Kenwood's-
Kimbark.
Kenwood's
Benny's.
liquor?
Was it Benny's on 47th? Or I guess he's been
It's like a liquor warehouse.
It was
Or
something
Kenwood's
like that.
liquors.
It might have been something like that on some intersection. But anyways, I think it was the night that we went. Anyways. Just talking. I'm just talking. But anyways, this New Year's Eve, I was not yet 21. I was probably like 19, and I bought Bacardi Dragonberry or Dragon Fruit or some shit like that. And I remember like that was around this time of rum chata, so I was just buying things that like sounded delicious. Like if it was cotton candy flavored, if it was vanilla flavored, if it promised it was ice cream flavored, I was drinking that shit.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
I'm kind of the same.
I had Marshmallow Pinnacle
Oh my god.
when I was in college. I was like, this is delicious. This is delicious. I want to learn about like alcohol though. Like this is what quality alcohol is because I really only know like the cheap stuff and like drinking to get drunk. I went to a tequila bar one day and I was like, oh, this is actually delicious.
Yeah.
Like this is an experience.
You ever went
I'm trying to
tequila
step my
tasting?
cookies up.
You ever went tequila tasting before?
Mm-mm.
That's my
I
next
might need to
step
go.
of adulthood.
Yeah, I'm like,
24-year-old Kush
here's how to
tequila
actually drink.
tastings.
Let's do this.
I was rolling around.
I mean, I know what good wine tastes like now. Like, I know not to abuse wine. My favorite wine is raspberry wine. It's delicious.
I still don't know about wine. I need to.
I still don't know. I feel like what's it called? A sommelier. The way that they like. I feel like that's my
I
thing
don't know
for
shit
dicks.
about the swirls.
She just called herself a dick sommelier.
I'm a dick sommelier.
A whiff, and I know all I need to know.
It's like-
Really, please inform us more.
I mean, look, I'm not one of those. Like, I don't do like, I don't know what I mean by this, but you know, like how they be like, it has a nice girth to it. You know?
No, G,
like,
no one says that.
I hint a bit of stone fruit and Axe shower gel.
Okay,
You know
that's
what I'm
fair.
saying?
So
Like-
sommeliers smell wine, and they're able to tell a lot about the wine. What are you smelling that reveals so much information about the dick? Like, what are you, like, maybe you're not smelling it, but like, where are you getting these
This was a
whiffs,
good year.
these like,
This was a good day. Like, it was a
girth
good
from.
work day. Like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that, like, of course, I prefer a clean dick, of course. But if I'm, like, with somebody, I wouldn't mind a dick fresh off of work.
Yo.
like post workout, smack it.
Yeah. I'm not
A little mug.
Oh my
Never
God.
hurt nobody.
Wrinkle
Never hurt
It
nobody.
never hurt.
Like, oh,
It's
you
like-
putting in work? I can smell the endorphins right now. Right now.
Must you be this way? There are so many other ways to be.
I just feel like, no, because, you know, like, you want a partner who is, like, strong, whatever. Like, oh, you was working out, like, I smell it. Like, yes, you're putting in work. It's affirming. I'm into it.
It is. I'm into it too. And then, like, they still have, like, remaining smells of, you know, whatever they showered in the morning.
Yeah, and like, what is that? The pheromones?
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Have you
your
ever
natural
tried?
scent.
There's this thing called liquid pheromones.
I feel
though.
like you told us about who's
We were at Curiosity. Shout out to YCA.
and somebody was talking about it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. But yeah. Okay. So, look, this is going great. But I definitely want to ask y'all some questions. So
What's your thought juice?
my thought juice? I have a few thought juices. One of my thought juices is Hennessy and lemonade,
That is good. I forgot how good that is.
or Hennessy and apple juice, Hennessy and iced tea, Hennessy and ginger ale.
I can't get with the Hennessy. I really can't.
I think because Hennessy was like the first hood drink that I figured out how to order properly. Like,
I feel that.
when you order in some, like, you know, $5 Target wine, no one's really gonna, like, be bothered by a baby face. Or, you know what I'm saying? But, like, if you buy some Hennessy, you a big dog.
No,
you
I
a
do
nigga
rock with
now.
that. Like,
like that. But you do.
Particularly as a woman, like, ordering Hennessy, like, yeah, I can drink Hennessy.
It's
yeah,
so
whatever.
attractive to me.
I feel that.
It's so attractive to
I
me.
still flinch when I'm taking shots.
A
of
little
Hennessy,
bit.
though.
I definitely, like, if I'm in public, I'll have, like, this is delicious. Just, like, big body it. But in public, I, like, in my house, like, in private, I'm like, this is nasty. And then I didn't understand it, like, the Hennessy, like, I feel like particularly recently Hennessy was like, this is that freaky, like, it really make, like, she got the Hennessy in her system. I don't understand it. There's a strip club in DC that ended up becoming, like, everyone from Howard just ended up going there because on Thursdays, it was free admission, free wings, free Cajun
This is a
chicken
strip
shrimp
club?
pasta. Yes!
Oh my God.
Free,
I heard
so free
it sounded like a
wings,
strip club from the Wings.
free Cajun shrimp pasta, and free Hennessy from 6 to 8.
Oh my God.
From 6 to, no, every college was in there. Even if you weren't there for the Hennessy, you weren't there for the strippers, you were there for that free food.
Yeah.
So that was all, that was the first time I really had Hennessy, and I was like, oh, I understand it. I don't know if it was the wings or Hennessy, but I was lit.
All right, so I want to know, what is a hood wife to both of y'all?
I've never heard this term before.
I know, it's something I created. So, in the proposal, I refer to myself as a reality television enthusiast, right? But the reason why this podcast is so important to me is because it's really important to hear, especially women of color, talking about these conversations and hearing ourselves having sex without the aid of us being scripted or edited or, you know, given a white director's viewpoint of a lens, right? So, inspired by the real wives, you know, the hood wives is just a coin term about just like pure black hood or hood adjacent expression.
Adjacent.
Yeah. So, why are you hoodwife? Or what's a hoodwife to you, Miss Kush?
Well, when I hear the word hoodwife, I think either of someone. Well, I'll just say what I think. My first thought, someone who. Why are you doing this? I'm trying to be sincere.
No, that was me. I'm sorry. I have no idea where that came from.
I think that a hoodwife is a wife of the hood or a wife to the hood. Not necessarily a wife that is hood. Like that's not the first thing that comes to my mind, but someone who is kind of like a steward to the hood.
Hell yeah.
Damn, it sucks to think of being a wife as stewardship.
No, but I get it kind of like a play on like a housewife. Kind of like a reclamation of housewife, but a hoodwife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the matriarch of the hood.
Yes. Yes. That was beautiful. Thank you, sister.
Kush Thompson, everybody. You can find me at.
Yeah, go ahead. Is that where you want to plug yourself?
No,
okay. We can wait till the end of the show. Okay. What about you, Miss Dime Piece?
I think for me, when I hear hoodwife, I automatically first want to think about like what does hood mean, and because I feel like a lot that in so many ways hood can be a negative term, like how ratchet is sometimes used, and it's used as a pejorative, I think is the word, where it's like, it's not a compliment. But at the same time, people want to be hood, and so I'm always fascinated by that. And I just think that, for me, like, thinking about a hoodwife, it's somebody who, and because I don't think being a wife is a bad thing. Like, I think about, what do we think of like a wife to be? Like, yeah, it's a gender term and there's a lot of history attached to it. But for me, I think a wife at their best is like someone who like kind of what Coach was talking about with stewardship, but it's like just a contributor. And whatever way you contribute to whatever partnership you contribute to, like whatever role in which you are a partner, you contribute. And I'm thinking about hood is just like, because I think the reason why folks look down on hood shit is because it's like, you're thriving when you're not supposed to, and like who you are, you're not supposed to be that. Where you're from, you're not supposed to be that. And so I just think about like a hoodwife as somebody who's like thriving and giving and like sustaining both themselves and like those around them, as Kush was talking about, despite their circumstances. And I'm like despite, just like within their circumstances, without reference to it, without reference to like who they're supposed to be or who they're not supposed to be.
Damn, that was so beautiful. I ain't gonna even lie. I was like hella, my insides was warm as hell. I was like, this is Iman Loren. We are back at it again. Okay, so we're just gonna get into it. I'm trying to figure out what to call you. So, I know you. Can I say your name?
No, don't say it.
Oh, don't say it. Okay.
I know you as Dime Piece.
Yes.
But the beautiful since I couldn't say the name, I had to do the expression to go with it. But you are now going by Neek. Is it just Neek or?
I feel like Neek happened because there's a famous photographer. I don't even know if bro is famous, actually. I really don't even know. A photographer with my name, and he literally took, like, he was on it, on the digital revolution. He got the website, the Twitter, the Instagram, the email, everything is in his name. So I had to shorten it just for Twitter. And then people started calling me that. I know, some of my family calls me that for short. They're just like, Neek, like my mom does. But then it just became a thing. And I was like, cool. I guess I'm good by it. But it's something about, I wonder how you feel about this, Kush, like, with your name. But particularly with, like, being more out there on social media, like promoting events and stuff. I don't like having my full name on there at all. It's just a certain level of intimacy, and I like kind of do prefer people not having access to myself in that way, and like both for privacy purposes, like just like not wanting my name attached to certain things. Like I also don't want people up in my grill, and like people think because like they know your like full name,
I know the first
that there's a certain access. I don't know, it's weird. I've been noticing that. Like, I don't want people to put my full name on flyers. Like, they actually don't need to know. And it's also just like, I be scared that like somebody could Google me and like find my address because like that's the world we live in, and it's been very interesting to me as like a woman who's being more public in like the performance world and the art world. Like you put yourself at risk. Like it's kind of scary for me to tweet out like, yeah, here's the performance I have, here's something I'm hosting, and like put that on the public sphere because now people know where they can find me.
Right.
And then that on top of having my full name on there, I don't really. It's terrible that as like a woman you have to consider that like for your safety, that somebody you don't want to see you might be like looking for a way to come see you.
That's interesting because Kush, you went through a name change too, but you did it the legal McGeagle way.
Legal McGeagle.
And I find that to be hot because I ended up taking on my mother's maiden name, which is why everybody knows me as Black. And so that anybody that does know like my real last name, that means that they've been like with me for a minute. So I definitely get that intimacy. It kind of reminds me of like when we would be fucking with somebody, but everybody refers to them as a nickname, and we just got to know what their real name is. Like,
that's rough.
You know what? Remember that text message that she sent us in the group chat?
Yes, I do recall.
So we know exactly what we're talking about.
The public don't know what you're talking about. I ain't gonna know what you're talking about.
That's fine, but I just want to know when is my pass coming in the mail?
It's never going to happen. So, audience, your host is referring to a time in my life where my significant other called me by my birth name in order to gain an ejaculation from me.
You ejaculated?
Is it called ejaculation?
Or did you climax? Hold up.
I did not ejaculate.
no idea.
I climaxed.
Wait,
okay.
is it? Yes,
Okay.
Did you ejaculate? Because that, can we
What-
get to that part?
Yeah, what form of ejaculation was this?
It wasn't ejaculation. I have not yet ejaculated, to my dismay. But he was getting me to orgasm.
Got it, okay.
That was the better one. I don't know why I said ejaculate.
And then him saying your real name got you off?
And he said my real name, and it like, oh my God.
Was it?
It's because he understands the intimacy of it. Like, he doesn't call me that on a regular basis because we've only been dating for 6 months. Like, he doesn't.
Really? It's been that long?
Yeah. That's supposed to be a long time. Only 6 months. Girl.
I'm waiting for my
6
stop to
months.
come.
Like, I be like, we talk for a year, and then we date for a year, and then I'm your girlfriend for a year.
I missed the talking phase, so I'm like, but
It really didn't happen. Like, we didn't give each other the space. Like, we just jumped into it. Like, we're dating now. I like you.
that's beautiful. That's
No,
beautiful.
that works for
That
you.
is.
It did work. So anyway, he called me by my birth name, and it set me off because it's like, I don't hear that from him, but I hear it whenever I'm in my house. So we having sex, and he calls me that, and it's just like, oh my God. But he was also like, I love you, insert birth name. And it was like, oh my God, this is what it's meant for. You know, because the whole purpose of me changing my name was so that people who didn't know me when I was growing up couldn't call me by that. Because people were finding out my birth name, and then like just feeling smart, like I know your birth name, I'm gonna call you out in front of a group of people, and now everyone knows your birth name, and that shit was not cool. So I changed it, and then like my dad was the one who gave me my birth name. So after he died, it just felt right to change it.
Excuse me. So, in this attachment of like when we are attached to our names, like aside from actual meaning, because like my name means faith and my name means time in Islam and Arabic, and I think that those are two values that are like very important to me. But in the actual like physicalities of what we like hold to our name, do you think that like reputation follows our names? Like, is there a difference person between the name that we want to put out there and the names that we keep for ourselves and others?
I mean, I want to think so. Like, I've been figuring that out with myself. Like, what is the real difference between Kush and my birth name? I feel like the people who call me by my birth name have seen me through all the phases, like through the awkward preteen shit that led up to being Kush. And like people who knew me post Kush are just like, they know the me that I'm curating for you. So I would like to think so, but I mean, I'm me all the time. So if you call me Kush, but you also know that I like As Told by Ginger, like you already know pretty much who I was before. You just don't have the same kind of access. It's not like I'm two different people per se.
Yeah. I think for me, I like the word that you used about like curation, because with like social media so much, I think you're always being consumed and like you're always presenting, and like that's fine and it's still valid. I think for me, it's still genuine. Like you can go on my Twitter, you can go on my Instagram, like that's definitely me. But there are parts of me that I keep to myself and I keep for the people that I love. And I think that for me is where like the name thing comes in. Like, yeah, this is like a public presentation and it's still valid, but it's not full. And this fuller self goes by this name. And it's for these select group of people.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because something that you told me earlier, Dom, is that just from what I know of like, I guess, the umbrella of all the things that you want to accomplish for yourself and for others, really, that there is like a certain, and correct me if I'm wrong, professionalism that you have to sustain or ordain for yourself. And so how do you, or how can we all achieve that without allowing ourselves to be or be viewed as monolithic? Because I think that's something that I'm going through personally, like with niggas that wanted to date me or wanted to fuck with me, and it was like, oh no, you eat my Lovin, like you the man, you the men palm bashing nigga, and like you just a freak body out here. That's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like those things I have to go through. So how can we like, you know?
And I feel like we are kind of on the converse, like, because I'm over here like, okay, I have these ambitions. I know what those ambitions normally look like. Like, I know what a lawyer looks like. I know how they talk. I know, like, the things they're interested in. I know how they present publicly. And I also know how I politically, personally, and sincerely don't match that. And so it's like, how do I balance that? But then in your case, it's like, yo, this is a part of me, but you can't reduce me to that. And you also can't invalidate it. Like, you're not finna discredit it. And then I think the commonality between our two situations is like, yo, how do I honor my fullest self? And how do I demand others to honor that? And what do I do when they don't? Because they're not finna, like, they won't. Like, there are going to be people who like, you talk this way. These are things you do. These are things you talk about. You can't be a lawyer. You can't be this high government official. And I'm like, I have hope that things are gonna change. Like, and it's kind of bogus, but I think at a certain point, like 20 years from now, during elections, hopefully it's not a big deal that some politicians' nudes are like leaked. Like, I be thinking about that all the time. I'm like, oh, I want to run for not necessarily office, but like I want to have certain positions of power. And it's like, well, what if your nudes leak? And I really want to be the politician
every day.
Or the person in these places are like, yeah, my nudes leak, and don't they look good? Like, how do I be in these? Because I think it's really about redefining, like, one, I have access to these spaces. So how do I leverage that access to both, like, change things and change that space? Because I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to justify who I am. Like, yeah, she may be, like, Southside Shorty, went to HBCU, rah-rah, but she's also highly intelligent, da-da-da-da. Like, I don't want to have to qualify myself at all, ever. And so how do I, even though it's qualifications that will get me into these spaces, how do I ensure that the next person doesn't have to do that same thing? And, like, maybe it means, like, temporarily abridging myself and, like, shortening my span, but then demanding that fullness at a certain point. And I don't know, because I don't want to ever disengage my politics or betray them, but I also kind of know what the situation is. And pro-ho not always gonna get me where I want to be. Right? Like, even if I want to be pro-ho, like Black Rose, and pro-queer and pro-black, like, it's a struggle to figure out what the correct, not even correct, because I think the truth is always correct, what the most effective presentation of that is.
So, I'm just, this whole talk is just going to be full of segues. I find any way to find a segue. But presentation is something that brings me to a connection with you, Ms. Kush. I know you, I have known you for years, but I've known you from being a mentor of mine at one point in time for like a very short-lived experience, and she realized she hated my ass.
What? You are a goddamn lie.
I lie like a rug.
Come on, I lie like a rug.
No, she loved me. She knew I was her twin from the moment she met me. But so a few things that is interesting to me about you is that you just inspire like the ultimate carefreeness, but carefreeness for okay, this is how I feel.
I'm gonna just let you
spit that truth.
You, right?
have at it.
Your carefree is like all the white girls that I've seen on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're, like, I feel like, I was just watching Bring It On yesterday, and I was a cheerleader, so I was like, I didn't get to have that experience of, like, cheerlead them in the scenic way in which they did. Well, when I was elementary, I did. But when I think about, like, movies like that or anything like that in correlation to you, it's always, like, a lifestyle, right? So Yves Saint Laurent, who's a brilliant fashion designer, said, fashion's fade, but style is eternal, right? And you have a very consistent style, right? And I think that you really allow yourself to play into your style and allow your artistry to be separate from your style. And by that, I mean, if anybody knows you or knows you outside of this, you are an introvert.
Yes.
But you are an introvert that likes hugs. Yes. And you like affection. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't mind, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and how do you deal with, like, with that double shift? Because I think that when people think about Kush Thompson, they don't think Kush Thompson an introvert. They think Kush Thompson introvert, maybe. And the painter and the poet and the this and the that. So how do you deal with these many lenses but keep it all in one style? Is that a complicated question?
I wish that there was a way for people to see my facial expression, because that is where most of my communication is, in my face. No, you should not have.
Okay.
They have to imagine it.
Yeah,
just
cool.
imagine me looking very. Say what? I don't know if there is a balance. Like, I know that I talk about, like, curating myself and, like, only allowing people access to so much. But I really don't think that I, like, look for a balance between, like, myself and my public self. Like, I don't know. It's really weird being a poet, because pretty much anything that I would talk to myself about, I would tell to the world in a poem. I don't feel like there's anything that I would keep to myself in that kind of way. So if you read my poetry, you pretty much know what I'm ready to tell. So I don't know. It's a weird question. I am myself all the time. But if you don't take the time to be my friend and, like, sit with me, then you probably don't know. But I don't think that I sit in front of strangers like, okay, this is what I'm giving you. Like, it's like, if you want the rest, then you have the rest. I don't keep anything to myself necessarily. So how does you have this poem called Quite Not Reparations, but why don't you explain to the audience what that poem is about? Wait, what is the question?
You have this poem called Not Quite Reparations, but why don't you explain what that poem is about? I didn't want to do it.
I think you are insinuating that I have a poem called It's Not Quite Reparations.
Okay.
But that poem is about...
I am insinuating.
Okay, well.
I think you have a poem.
I think you wrote a poem.
That poem is about my partner.
Oh, so it is about...
It is about my man.
I wasn't gonna assume.
Okay, it's not about my man, but it is inspired by my relationship with my man. Who is a white man. And the poem is basically my intimate history with white men and, like, what that has meant to me before this relationship.
And the reason why I wanted to ask you this is because it's a few reasons that I wanted to go into that, but also, like, kind of going to what we were talking about perception and image and things like that. You're known for being a radical Black woman. Was that something that you were worried about when stepping out into an interracial relationship?
I don't think I was worried. Like, I think I've always been myself, like, always very open about, like, yes, I love Miley Cyrus. Yes, I stand for Britney Spears. Like, I'm not anti-white because I grew up in the suburbs and a lot of the characters that I relate to are also white. Like, it's not, I don't know. I'm not anti-white, despite what my radical politics implies, quote unquote. But I do understand, like, what whiteness is and, like, what kind of effect that had on me as a child and, like, what kind of effect that has systemically on me as a black person. Like, that doesn't go away just because I'm dating someone who's white.
Do you find it more responsibility?
Responsibility, no, because I don't feel like the reason why I lived 24 years without dating a white person was because I didn't feel like explaining my existence to a white person. Like, there's things that you're obviously not going to understand about how I live and, like, what hurts me, and I don't want to explain that to you because I can't be your partner and your educator at the same time. Like, that's just too much to give. But I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to walk into this relationship like, okay, now I'm a black woman. You have to understand what that means. The day that me and Clay made it official, I was like, now that you are the fake real boyfriend of a black girl, are you prepared to protect me from quiet racism? And he was just like, you know, I am a white man, and there are some things that I'm not going to see that you see all the time, and you're just going to have to tell me that. But other than that, yes, I am. And that was it.
I almost just shed a tear.
Yeah, that's beautiful to me. That's beautiful to me. And you also mentioned these cartoons that had influences on you, so I also just want to give this a plug to give a shout out to your art line, Unfriendly Black Hottie. That was just in a previous gallery at Young Chicago Authors, but you should also check out her website, and we'll get that information to y'all later. But speaking of interracial dating, and maybe you can chime in if you are comfortable. If you are comfortable. And now I didn't want to add, no, I'm going to tell you, I didn't want to add to be insulting, but let me tell you a story.
How many people just think I'm super light-skinned?
No.
Like, she's
Let me
just
tell you
really
how I
pale.
knew. I'm going to tell you how I knew. And I had to ask because I didn't want to be insulting, but I go to, like, Whole Foods, like Hyde Park to get, like, my significant oils all the time. And I'm in this health food store, and I'm like, it's this white man that is so fine. Like, he is so big and bald. And I was like, he looked like, that when he lived in Hyde Park, he looked like some swag has been bestowed and spiced upon him. And I didn't take no picture, but I just came back, and I was like, Dominique, does your dad work at a health food store? And he's like big and buff, and she was like, yeah.
Wait, no.
Do you not remember that? Or he was probably just there?
I was like, unless he's a secret life, I don't know.
He went behind the counter, so I'm assuming that people like knew him, that he was like very familiar there, or whatever.
He was bald? Okay. Probably was my dad. He
definitely was, because when I seen him at the showcase, he was like, oh, I remember you. I was like, all right. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's my dad.
Yes.
My father is a white man, and my mother is a black woman.
But you are essentially light complexioned.
Bitch, where are you going?
What?
The reason why I wanted to ask is because, like, this is something that's important to me. When I was a shorty, I was always referred to as team light skin. And I'm like, why? I'm like, bitch, I'm milk chocolate. Fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But not saying that there's anything wrong with being light skinned, but I feel like there is a lot of my ethnicity that I cancel from myself on account of being put into that box. Like, aside from like language or how I talked or anything like that, like there was just a sense of bullying that I went through from being that type of shorty or being not hood enough or anything like that. And then when I see you carry yourself in such a strong, confident way, but you make and provide room for like others who are not of your complexion, but you do it in such a seamless way where it doesn't seem like that is like your main attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think So I definitely like, it's very interesting to have a little sister. And so I've always identified as a Black woman. When I was growing up, there were several Black women in my household who were a part of raising me. I went to predominantly Black schools, like was very close with the Black side of my family. Whereas my little sister, like very concretely identifies as biracial. And like, that's never been a thing for me. And it's not even like, oh, I'm denouncing whiteness. I'm just like, I present as a Black woman. I'm viewed as a Black woman. Like my little sister has blonde, light brown hair and very clearly hazel eyes, whereas mine would be like a little tint in the light, but like they're brown. My eyes are brown. I have brown hair. I have more Black features than my sister, who is like very, very petite. And so I've always like, I feel like I'm viewed as a Black woman. I identify as a Black woman, great. But I also was so aware of like the light skin archetype, and I never wanted to be that, like, at all. And I try and distance myself from it, but I also see the ways in which that can be performative. Like, there's a privilege, like, I have to acknowledge, and I'm always aware of it, even if I don't buy into it. And that's a constant, like, negotiation. Like, okay, how do I make space for others? But, like, how do I identify the space I take up? Like, it's both sides. And so I'm glad it appears as seamless, but I think it's something I actually put a lot of thought into. And, like, am always, like, critiquing. And, like, I think the whole, like, light-skin bullshit, like, or even just, like, the mixed girl, like, I'm not Black enough, I'm not white enough. Like, I never want to take that up because I'm like, there's so many other real issues at hand. But I also don't want to discredit it, because I know, like, those are some people's struggles, but they're not mine. Like, I've never had to negotiate that, like, identity struggle. But I also be like, okay, are you performing Blackness right now to compensate? Is that what you're doing, Dom? Like, maybe check that and, like, pull it back. But also still understanding that need to, like, present who I feel I am and who I am internally is also still valid. Like, is it bogus if I, like, affirm myself and validate my Blackness by listing all the shit I've done? Like, yeah, I did go to Howard. Like, you can't tell me shit. Is that flawed? Is it not flawed? I don't know. It's a constant interrogation.
I just wanted to take this moment to, like, take that moment to, like, not, I didn't hope it didn't come off as like an outing type of moment, but it was.
Oh no, I don't be hiding.
No, okay.
I don't like, I have a Black father.
It was rendered as an appreciation.
I'd be very quick.
I really do appreciate that from you, because and I'm like just learning ethnicity about my family, like where my family come from, where my great parents and family. I just like understood their full names, and like, you know, I do know this whole, like, oh, you have Indian in your family, but it's like, yeah, I actually do have, like, Native American descent pictures and cards of reservations, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's not something that, like, I wanted to give myself, like, as a qualification, which kind of brings me to, like, this whole idea of, like, when dating, how, like, people just expect or expected me to hold a certain criteria for being a fair or a lighter skin complexion than a dark woman or anything like that. And I think that is my responsibility, or not my responsibility, but just a part of me to, like, say, like, that's not what I'm about.
I love checking dudes on their little light skin fetish. I really
love
it.
You understand where
I
I'm coming
love
from?
it. I just be like, who your exes? Who are they? Show me the Instagram. Oh, you have a problem. You have a problem. You have a problem, and you need to check it. And I'm not gonna engage with you. Like, I will not cater to this. Like, I really love interrogating that. Like, I don't know. I really think I don't think anything's gonna change if folks aren't, like, pushing back. Like, I know for a fact. And I talk about it, and people don't be listening. Like, they be like, shut up, Dominique. But I'm literally like, I know you only think I'm pretty because I'm light skinned. Like, I know that. I know that if I were, like, translucent, I'd be a smooth 5.
Stop it.
Okay, maybe not a 5, but, like, I understand that there's a certain, like, people, particularly, like, with street harassment, I'm like, you didn't even look at my face.
Yeah.
You just saw, like, NC 45.
Oh,
I'm finna shoot my shot. Like, I really think that the right way to navigate that is to call it out. Like, you're bugging.
So, do you date women?
Do I date women?
I said white man.
Oh, I was like, I couldn't tell what you said because I was like, one is a definite yes and the other is like a no. I have not dated a white man before. I don't interact with a lot of white men in general. I in high school or light skinned men.
Yeah.
People try to tell me that I only date light skin. I was like, y'all
Brown
bugging.
skin.
Like, no, they really lied. They lied for that one.
I think light skinned men just fuck themselves up as a group.
They did. You have a bad rep. And my whole thing is I don't want to look like I'm holding hands on myself. Like, I like a little contrast. I dated one light skinned man and literally we was walking down the street caking. And somebody asked, is that your brother? And I was like,
gross.
That's not my brother. But I have crushes. I went to a, like, quote-unquote diverse high school. And I remember there were several, and they were Jewish, so, like, white adjacent, but, like, still white.
I mean, I have a Jewish uncle, so I understand.
I had a crush on, like, several Jewish men in my school. But they never shot their shot. And then, like, since we've graduated high school, like, a couple of them have, like, asked to hang out or, like, asked me to dinner. And, like, I still don't understand it. I just feel like I've never been desired by a white man. And I don't understand why. I'm actually not curious to know. Like, I actually don't care. I'm glad my period of, like, lusting for folks that weren't lusting for me back was brief. It was very brief.
So you like you a nigga?
That's where I've had the most success, I will say. And I do think kind of what Kush was talking about, there is a lot of benefit to not having to explain yourself.
Yes.
And, like, we see the same things. We have the same problems. We share the same history. And even where it, like, diverges, like, I still know what you're talking about. And I appreciate that a lot. And like I said, I just haven't interacted with a lot of white women. Like, my dad's white man, great, phenomenal, 10 out of 10. But I don't know a lot of white men. And like I said, no white man has ever expressed interest in me.
They be scared.
I feel like that's what it was. And even, I was trying to rationalize this that, like, oh, you're scared. And I was like, that doesn't explain it. Like,
I really don't.
That actually makes it makes me feel worse. Like, oh, now I'm something to be feared.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, you don't get a pass for saying you're scared of me. Like, nah, you still bogus.
So I want to ask you all, since I know that you like niggas, and you into interracial dating.
Bitch, this is my first interracial relationship. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you can't generalize.
All right, I'm sorry.
One white man is all it takes.
Damn, that's all it takes.
That's like the reverse one drop.
No, the reason why I said a generalized thing. You know, like when you go,
one stroke is all it takes.
You know, like when you go to Pornhub and you find a category that you're into, you find yourself returning back to that category. And ironically, interracial is one of those categories.
For you.
It's really not, though. I have a thing against white meat.
I personally, as a black feminist, cannot watch white man on black woman
I really
porn.
don't either.
I cannot watch it. I just be like, I know you're thinking racist, sexist thoughts.
I can see a black man. I can see a black man on a white woman.
I can see that. I'm like, get your reparations.
Oh no!
But
your 40 acres and
the 40 and the mule.
And the mule.
I'm weak. No. And maybe it's just because of how violent porn is.
I love violent porn.
I can appreciate violent porn, but I feel like particularly I watch free porn. I don't have money to pay for porn.
Wait, what's the difference between violent porn and free? I thought you meant like volatile porn.
So like I can appreciate aggressive porn, great, but I feel like when that same aggression is placed in the interracial videos, it leverages like misogynoir. Like that's what it all depends on. Like it'd be like black bitch this, black Kodak, and I'm like,
I've seen like Skin Diamond like tied up in a farm.
That's different. That's different.
Skin Diamond is not my colored.
I know.
And also, like, I think Skin Diamond's videos, like, even though they're violent in the sense of, like, they're physically aggressive.
Like, you wouldn't see James Dean doing that to a
It's not violent. It's not violent against her as a person.
Yeah.
It may be, like, some violent sex and, like, it's consensual and that's great. But I just feel like in a lot of white man on black woman porn, it's violent against the person and their identity. It's all, like I have it's degrading. And, like, you can violate me like, not violent, pardon me. You can be violent towards me.
You can violate me. You can violate me.
You can be violent towards my body in a consensual way without, like, having it be dependent upon stereotypes and ideas that have historically and systemically
I feel you.
Imprisoned my people.
I feel you. Like you wouldn't
see
like
you black bitch.
You wouldn't
I
see,
just can't do it.
You wouldn't see James Dean calling Jada Fire his little slave bitch.
Oh, I can't. And there be porn like that. According to Twitter, there is porn like that.
Look, I'm just saying, I'd be anybody's slave bitch.
I would not.
I can't. We have to do a lot of talking before. A lot of unpacking.
That's definitely a whole dinner that is had.
And then we can do it. Okay.
Yeah, because you gotta talk about terms.
If I'm your little slave, like I'm your little like sex slave. Okay, cool. But am I your little like transatlantic like chattel slavery? Like we're in the South.
No.
Like that's a lot.
I would do a slave master role play.
I gotta go. Okay, like that's what I'm saying. Like, are you like slave master, like just regular, like like Greek slavery,
if he was asking for a dime at the point in time, and he wanted me to get my reparations back, then I'm Django Jane.
Django Jane. You should copyright that before you release
this. As the only person in this room who has had sex with a white man, I say that's bullshit.
Y'all actually don't know.
Somebody gotta let me know. Somebody gotta let me know. I be going on a wave. Look, but the question I wanted to ask both of you, and we can kind of wrap this up on a happy note. Does niggas find pulling your hair easier?
Wait a minute.
Now that I have some hair to pull. Yo, the funniest thing when I was growing my hair out was people literally pulling scalp. I'm like, not even like, they were like trying, and then it was like slipping through their fingers, and it's like no hair to grab. I'm sorry. And like people just like end up just like holding the back of my head, and I'm like, we're gonna make this work.
Amber Rose.
We're gonna make this work. Literally just palming my skull.
That's
like
hot
it was
though.
A basketball.
But like that's when they
grab.
do the grip around the back of the throat. And
tell me something.
I'm still trying to get it. I want to know.
Call my nigga now.
I want to know.
Amon, tell me about this thing.
What do you do when your non-nigga pulls one of your braids out?
I mean,
no, let me tell you what she does.
I made a tweet. I was like, if you pull my braid out, you gotta choke me with it.
No. It took me so long to get box braids because I was like, what if people think I'm white? And I was like a white woman with box braids. And Kush was like, no, like, get your braids. So, and then I was like, but wait, what if my braids falls out?
Well, then it falls out.
And she said, go ahead, tell us.
I don't remember.
Tell us what you do.
I don't remember.
Girl, she literally was like, I left on the floor, whatever, and I put it back in. I was like,
yeah.
Just put it back in. Go ahead.
But you gotta choke me with it first.
Go ahead.
And then you gotta put it on the nice
Yo, the worst be when they pull out your braid and then it's just there and you can't find it. I guess I'm gonna leave it. But I mean, I'm in a committed relationship now, so it's like, well, baby, you did a good job. If you find one of my braids, let me know.
Yeah, that's hot. That's hot.
And that's it. Like, he's watched me put my braids back in before. It's so cute. It's so cute.
That's beautiful. Well, you all, I thank you all so much for this wonderful episode.
It was great.
This is actually a very beautiful episode. Thank you for this. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you at and everything that you got going on right now?
You can find me at your nearest thrift store looking for the VHS tapes.
At our nearest, because my nearest thrift store is in the Chicagoland area.
Chicagoland area.
I don't know if you'll be there.
Oh, I feel so attacked. I don't know if the thrift stores in Louisiana have VHS tapes yet. But you can find me until then.
Baby.
Better get some Popeyes while you're out there.
At cursive bones, cursive like your handwriting, bones like the things that are protected by your skin. And at kushthompson.com.
I'm sorry, I got a burp.
Oh, that was so hot.
You can edit out, you can keep it. It don't matter.
No, I was gonna ask, do you burp on the dick?
No, but I do throw up on it. On accident.
What do you do when you throw up on the dick?
Okay. This has just not ended yet. Hold on.
This is happens. several times to me because I be eating apparently too quick and I be like chewing up on my food, digesting it. But there have been several times, like one time my shorty was like putting her hands in my mouth like to like gag me basically, like filling my mouth up, and I threw up in my mouth. But I'm a real one. I just gulp, swallowed it back down. Same thing happened when I was with a young gentleman. And I go, swallow back down. Happened again. Go. I don't know why it's keep happening to me. I really need to chew my food more. Swallow back down. But one time.
That was so
One time, my mouth was open while it happened. Because usually my mouth was closed. I can just, swallow it. My mouth was open, and I threw up.
Oh no! What do you?
And it was just there. It was just there.
It was just vomit.
And luckily, it was a slight vomit. Like it was mostly liquid and like maybe 3 chunks.
Okay.
But that's
and afterwards. I was like, I threw up on you. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna even lie.
But I kept going.
They do though, like
because they're aiming for an ultimate throat cream pie. That's like their ultimate.
Like I gag.
I want a throat cream pie.
I do
so
go, and they're like, yeah.
Like I need to get another point of moaning.
I felt great. I was like, you did that. You are committed. Okay, that took some strength, discipline.
Right. I'm glad to know that we're all in favor of throat fucking. Yeah, that's
enjoying your food.
That's the way you ask a man to marry you. That's how you ask a nigga to marry you. But anyway,
where can they find you?
Oh, where can you find me?
Can't find you nowhere till after law school.
Can't find me nowhere until after law school. I be in these streets.
By the way, call 1-800-LAW-REP4 if you know.
If you are in the jam, right? You can follow me on the internet at Nick James on the websites. Yeah.
Cool.
Me.
Thank you, ladies, so much for being a real Hoodwives of Chicago.
Thank you.
It's your girl, Yamar Loren, closing out with another one. Yeah.
You're feeling salty, can't have no nanny. I'm not your mommy and you's a poppy. You found your hobby, how about that? Running up, you just the runners up. Got cherries and blossoms and buttercups. Milk chocolate and pussy is honey nut. I'll climb you like trees, don't fall for the breeze. Just stay on your limbs, the niggas will leave. They blowing the bees.